Hey, Christian, can you hear me? Not hear me. God, yes. What? Come and see what it's saying. Facebook, what? Kimani, Facebook made a change on June 10th that limited some page from going live. They recommended they trying again and
Oh, okay, whatever.
edit it. It's not doing it. You gotta
So
edit.
that from this
Remove.
particular stream, but just remove it.
Okay. Remove. Yeah. Okay. Save.
Okay. Everything else is fine.
Good. Okay.
All right, y'all.
Yes.
Technical
Yeah.
difficulties over. We're
Yes. Hey, hey, hey. How are you? So, hey, Christian, are you there? Can you hear me? Let's see if he can hear me. Can you hear me? Let's bring him into the. Oh, he can. Okay. But we can't hear him, though.
Yeah, his mic's on.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Okay.
All right. Hey. Okay. Can you hear me, Christian?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, perfect. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, there we are. All right. Let's see, because we brought it. Okay, there. Maybe we should do it this way. There we are. Perfect. Now you can see me. Well, so how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, good. Thank you for coming last minute because we wanted to talk about black farmers in black agriculture, black land, black food, black health and wellness. So you just sent me that news today about $2 billion for black farmers and minority farmers. So
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
Well, I think the reparation package is long overdue. Of course, very long overdue. I think with the idea of adding minority farmers in there guarantees that those funds are going to be dispersed in such a way that $2 billion won't necessarily be coming directly into the community to support um, agriculture for our community's farmers. I think as far as our community, just in California alone, it's mirrored in the rest of the nation where we only participate in half of 1% of the national agricultural community. And that was done very strategically because it hasn't always been that way. And so, like Malcolm X said, every revolution is based off of land. And so, the
Yeah.
agricultural revolution for our community, it needs to happen. It needs to happen in such a way that we can feed ourselves and not depend on the same people that are responsible for oppressing us or developing oppressive systems to feed us. Because what happens is they develop such a low standard of food that only thing that happens is that it just promotes chronic disease, pharmaceutical abuse, early death, and low quality of life. So we have to put ourselves in a position where we can make those strides to feed ourselves. And I think the brother on the front right there with that cowboy hat on his head, he's been doing a lot of work to create some equity within our community for farmers because the USDA has shown to be a snake in the grass in regards to developing systems that would undermine the longevity of farmers in our community, taking the land, giving loans that were easily defaulted on, creating many hurdles that would slow down, stunt the growth, or even retard the participation of farming in our community. So I think it's long overdue, but it doesn't stop here because $2 billion is just a drop in the bucket when you think about what is really owed to our people. I can't hear you. You're muted. You're on mute.
Sorry. So what I was saying, what they're getting is like 20,000, 10,000. What are you going to do with $3,500 and $6,000 distribution to the black farmers? How, I mean, so
Well,
20,000, that's not even gonna buy you nutrition, soil and water,
is that what it breaks? Is that what it comes down to? Is when you break the numbers down, it came down to $20,000 per farmer?
Yeah. I mean, some of it, the way they broke it down, let me see. How, I mean, the maximum is like 20,000 and 30,000. I mean, what is that gonna do for the farmers?
Yeah,
Because
you
they're
know,
distributing it to not just for the black people. When they say minority, so they're adding all the minority,
yeah,
not
that's
just
the
black.
Mexicans, the Indians, the immigrants, everybody who's just coming here yesterday. They'll get a piece of
Yeah,
that.
that's why at the end of the day, the black people, we, the black farmers, we get probably, it doesn't even come, maybe 5%, 1% of that $2 billion. But what else? It should be directly going to the black farmers.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of it is it's a power struggle, of course. You have people who um, consider themselves to be, powerful, and then you have another group who considers themselves to be powerless, and you have a group of people who are asking for something from another group or another community to really fulfill their destiny. And I think when you take the dollar amount off of it, what it all comes down to is this entire geographical location belongs to the community who is being disenfranchised the most. And I think you can't really put a price tag on what is really owed to these people, to our
Yeah.
community, as being the indigenous people of this land. And we're dealing with invaders. So these invaders are not going to give us anything that's going to make a competitive or equal or equitable situation. They're going to create the conditions that develop dependency on the people who have historically been doing for themselves. So we've seen this. We've seen this before. I don't think that the oppressive class has ever developed any new sequence or new script of how they want to manifest their oppression or their you know so it's just a reoccurring theme that we've seen before. So I
So
think the
this is what it
self-determination.
says. So it says more than 23,000 farmers, says more than 23, sorry, thousand farmers were approved from payment ranging from 10,000 to 500,000. According to the USDA, another 20,000 who plan to start a farmers. So they were giving 20,000 for the people who plan to start but they were refused to be given. So basically, so how do you start for 20,000? I mean, unless you start small, receive a USDA loan receiving between 3,000. So those people who did not receive any loan, they'll be receiving between 3,500 to 6,000. Basically, like just even to buy your land and to get all that going, you need at least, you know what I mean? Few million
Yeah,
dollars. But they're
yeah. I
giving
think it's what would have to happen in that situation would have to be the collaboration part.
yeah. Absolutely. But the thing, what I worry about this thing, honestly, that's why I always say they have to give a specific for black farmers, for black businesses, because by the time it gets to us or the black farmers who needs it, the money's gone.
It's gone.
They,
It's
they
gone.
are. The black
And I
people
think
fight.
it has to be some collaboration. I mean, the money is so small that is being given. It's the historical script of the USDA setting you up for failure. You know,
Yeah.
you can't truly operate a farm with less than $1 million
Yeah.
and be.
Yeah. Even
So if you tell me that you give me $20,000 to get my farm started, what I'm gonna do? Buy a tractor? What I'm gonna do with my seeds, my irrigation? my workers. You know what I'm saying? My water bill, my
Yeah.
electricity, my solar panels. So they're not there. They don't. The intention is for you to be dependent on this hand to give you something, and you'll need to come back. You know, and it's not just the all the farmers are being crippled. Outside of big mass production and corporate farmers, the goal is to cripple all of the farmers. I mean, you look at Bill Gates, he's buying all this farmland, and then he's also producing this lab meat. The goal is
Yeah.
to create this huge, you know what I'm saying, corporate collaborative effort to create this Monsanto meat and over pesticide fruits and vegetables, and the ability to feed people to be in the hand of a minority, you know, and they call us the minority, but they're truly the minority, you know, the
Yeah.
people that are in control and operating this you know, this regime in America. I mean, it's a global regime at this point, but the power is always going to be, you know, in the people. We have to stop. You know, we have to stop asking. We have to start taking the initiative to go out and develop the systems that we need. Um, you know, to come out of um, you know, this oppressive, you know, place that we find ourselves in, consistently asking, begging to the same people that were, you know, hanging our ancestors from trees. You know, we asking them to help us, and they've shown that it's not in their heart for them to help us. You know, they show
Yeah.
the time and time again. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that the $2 billion doesn't go just to, you know, farmers that have been here since the 14th century. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to go to the farmers that were the indigenous people of the land. You know, they
Yeah.
give the farmers to, you know, it's
Just like
wild.
remember the 40-acre and mule? Guess who got
Yeah,
it? The Europeans got it. The black people
yeah,
fought for it. They were supposed to get it, but they never got it. And they gave it to the European, the World War I and World War II. When they came here, they got all that land. That's why they ended
yeah,
up being now 98% of, I mean, over 90% of the farm is owned by white community. But
exactly.
we came, they brought us from Africa for a farm. So
I believe they called that the
you
homestead.
have to own the land you worked on, you
Exactly,
see. But our
exactly.
people from Africa worked on the land. It was organic when our when African came here and worked on the land, and then the European came in and mechanized agriculture. Most people don't know. Right now, that's why we're eating chemicalized food.
Yeah,
Yeah, right
yeah,
now, in fact,
and
there's only 1% organic soil left in the United States, and that is found right here by Sacramento Valley.
you know, and that's
So,
why the cancer industry is booming like it is right now, because of
yeah,
all the you know, the depleted nutrition and the over pesticide, you know, all the chemicals on the food. You know, it creates a, you know, it benefits the pharmaceutical companies because people are going to get sick.
yeah.
It's guaranteed.
And at the same time, they're producing more when it comes to when it's not organic food. That's why being you, we're very focused on organic food, organic soil. That's what we are about because we don't want to compromise on the soil, on the food, which they've been doing that for generations. So that's why I think it's important to invest in black farmers. Like when you go to Africa, the African farmers, they don't compromise on their soil. I mean, there is only maybe 1%, 2%. But here is all the soil is already been compromised. So now, even California right now, they actually giving grant for organic soil for us to grow it organically. That is how desperate they are because the food is really poisoning people. Because food's supposed to be your medicine. Food's supposed to be your healing. But instead, now the food is what is causing all the disease and the sickness and everything here, especially in the United States. And
Yeah, they said
and
when they did the blood samples, everybody got pesticides in their blood now.
yeah, and that's chemical. We worry about some dust, whatever dirt, but we eating chemical every day, all day. That our body digestion. So that's why we have a lot of pandemic when it comes to mental health. They don't tell you the mental health stuff comes from eating unhealthy food too.
I agree.
And
Because your brain is in your gut. So
yeah,
if your gut health is not good, then that's going to influence not only your immune system but also your thought patterns.
yeah,
And not to
that's why.
mention, we talk about the pesticides, but it's a lot of people walking around full of parasites. You know,
Yeah,
from the way that the animals is treated. And they eat the
mhm,
meat, and now you have all these different cravings, and you got to feed the parasites now. Your whole body. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never did no parasite cleanse, and that's what you walking around moving. So, the fasting is a big part of holistic health, but just the small and medium sized farmers, we really are
yeah,
the driving force of the health of our community, the health of our families, is being able to develop these systems in which we can grow our own food and we can sustain ourselves. And that
yeah,
was that was what happened during World War II. In World War II, the president was telling people, y'all need this, we're going to shift to having to support these soldiers overseas. We need y'all to grow food at home so you can take a little bit of pressure off of our food system, right?
yes,
And so now that
mhm,
we're seeing all these wars happening all around the world, every continent got some type of war happening right now.
yes,
So it is going to be necessary for us to have something going for ourselves. We
yeah,
may not have a farm to the point where we make $100 million, but if we got enough land that we can feed 100 people on a consistent basis 12 months out the year, that's success.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
success.
Because food is at the end of the day is the epitome of what we live for. I
Exactly.
mean, if we're not eating healthy food, if we're not taking care of our food, and we're not taking care of our holistic health, which is our spiritual health, our mental health, our physical health, our financial health. When you're sick, you're not thanking God. When you're sick, when your mental is sick, it's a huge. So everything, I really believe a lot of it comes from also from the food and the diet that we eat here, especially in the Western culture, especially here in the United States, when still GMO and food stuff is allowed. Whereas you go to Europe, GMO is banned. Whereas here we eat GMO food. So, but I think again to come back to this agriculture stuff, they brought us here, especially Africans came here for farm purposes because European didn't know how to farm. I mean, they knew how to farm a little bit, but the whole farming industry came from Africa, came in here, became a business. That's how America was built, while our people, Africans, were farming and feeding the people. And, America was producing and selling and building. So that is, we cannot forget how the Africans from Africa, the African American, how really they really fed the people while we came from, why the first place while we came here. And now we only 2% of us in farm. In the farming industry, is only 2% of us. It just don't make sense to me. That means we're not owning the land, even though 17% of the land here in the United States is used for farming. We are only less than 2% of our black people is in that industry. And USAID is the richest department probably in the world from
Well,
agriculture only.
it's a federal, it's an arm of the federal government, and the federal
Yeah.
government were the ones who were responsible for waging genocide on the indigenous people and taking the land. So yeah, they've enriched themselves on the land of the indigenous people. I mean, when I look at my family tree, and we go back 200, 300 years when they was doing the census reports here in in America, which was called Turtle Island before it was actually called the United States of America. What was happening is that all of the men in our family was farmers. All of our people was farmers. Everybody was farming. You know,
Hmm.
you
That's
look
what I'm
at
saying.
yeah. So yeah, the USDA is the richest because they stole all the land. So you walking around here with a bag that's not yours, and you calling yourself the richest people, but you've created a system that has allowed you to steal and then weaponize and fortify the resources through the police department, the FBI, the CIA, the army. You know what I'm saying? You're still participating in a type of genocide because you're separating the people from the land and then you're reclassifying them. If you look at the 14th Amendment, it goes into slavery being a, what was it, the 13th Amendment. It's either the
13.
13th or the, huh?
13. It's
The
13.
13th, the 13th
Yeah.
Amendment, it goes into the institution of slavery being reinforced through the development of who is going to be a felon. Now, if you look at who is branded the felon here in the States, they use that term for the quote unquote black man. So
Mm.
they disenfranchise you through the policies that they've created. You see what I'm saying? To take the land from your forefathers, but make sure that the descendants, you don't even think about getting land. All you're thinking about is getting your record expunged and then getting a
Yeah.
job. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's a psychological warfare that is sustaining this genocide, this cultural genocide that we're experiencing here. So,
Yeah. I
once we
think
start,
that's, yeah, that's why I think I feel like there has to be a way for, especially for black people. I know they say we can't say black because there has to be a way for black people, especially black community who've been here for a long time, not just reparation. There has to be a way of going directly to where the fund, which is the federal level, the state level, the county level, the city level, the fund is there. So by the time they divide it to this group, and it comes to the black community, it's all gone. That's how they've been doing that game. So why don't we, as a community, we have to come together as a black community, as direct the money from the fund, from the budget. But the thing is, we do that all the time. But when we get there, they take it over and divided it for themselves, just like they're doing right now. You see what
yeah,
I mean? Not fair. That's the
yeah,
policy we fight for, just like civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, black people fought for it. In fact, it was the white women who benefited for it because right now 45% of white women are in business, in companies, in all that. Look at the black women. We still 1% of us in, not even in the business. So, but
yeah,
who fought for the civil rights movement? Our people, black, in everything we fight, but everybody else benefit, but not our kids and kids. Black people should
yeah,
have had the generational wealth by now. If they even gave them like 100, 200 years start, and they don't want to give equity, they don't want to give reparation, they don't want to give us grant, they don't want to give us loan. I mean, how do they expect the people to thrive? And they will still pay tax to the fund, to the federal money, and then the state money and everything. It don't make sense to me.
they don't look at us in the same way that they look at them themselves. So when you think about even the classification of 3/4 of a human being, that was something that was branded on. You see what I'm saying? Our community to the point where we weren't even looked at as human beings. So
But we don't
how
need to
they
believe. We don't need to believe what they say. Just because they said so,
yeah.
just
So
because
I
they
mean,
said Jesus was white, it doesn't mean we have to believe and say that Jesus is white. You know what I mean?
I know. That's what I'm saying. But then it's like even to your point about the money, like we don't need to believe what they say just because they say they're gonna give us some money. We don't need to believe that that's what's gonna happen because they got a history of lying. We got to
Yeah.
create a system for ourselves so that we can do for ourselves. Because really the quote unquote black people in this country, we are batteries. We are the engine. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So all they
Yeah.
doing is they're trying to pacify the engine so it can keep working. They try to pacify the battery so it can keep charging the system. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to give us the system because they benefit from us. You see what I'm saying? Not doing for ourselves. They benefit from us
But we gotta
being here.
stop
I mean, we can shut
because
it
our
all
kids,
down by just
all
stopping
this money,
participating.
and your kids are paying for it. We got to stop
Yeah,
that because they need to stop taking advantage of black people from Africa to here because
yeah,
it's enough for everybody to eat. But when I feel like they are taking advantage of black community, where every community, other communities benefiting from our ancestors, our African ancestors paying for it for this country, it don't make sense to me.
yeah,
In fact, the black people, the one who should be benefiting from United States first, because our people paid for it for 400 years. Everybody
yeah.
else is immigrant except indigenous and black people.
I don't know
This is African American.
if 14 million black people woke up. I don't know if they're gonna be asking for reparations. I don't know if they're gonna be asking for money. They may want something. Might want something totally different. You know, if all black people woke up today and they knew what they was worth, they knew, you know, that they were the reason why, you know what I'm saying, this country, this world moved the way that they moved. I don't think they're gonna be asking for money. You see what I'm saying? Like when
Hmm.
you wake up and you really know what's going on, I don't think black people gonna ask them for no money. I think they gonna want something totally different. You know, they might want you up off their land altogether. You know, they might want to push the European back into the caves of the Caucasus Mountains. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if us becoming awakened and knowing is going to be synonymous with us asking for anything.
That's why education is important. You know, when we are just like me and you, we have to educate ourselves. You know, a lot of people, nowadays we got to really self education. Um, that's why. But the thing is, it is a simple way, or we can actually build our economy, our black economy, simple way, just by producing our own, by creating businesses in our community, by creating nonprofits and entrepreneurship like we're doing. If they give us the fund directly to us, and instead of dividing it, just like how I say in Africa, they say NGO. What is this NGO that still our people still don't even have water, clean water, and basic things? But this NGO been around for ever since I know myself. So, but
Well, the
they
NGO is making
now
sure those conditions
it doesn't
persist.
cover people. They say they serving.
The NGO is making sure that those conditions persist.
Yeah, they make it worse, in fact, because they're
Yeah,
not
so you
really
got,
the people how to build their businesses, and instead of they just giving us, oh, here is something to eat, here is something to drink, and that's it. No education, no empowerment, no training, no nothing. All the money goes back into creating middle class, upper class job for the Europeans and for the Americans, technically.
well, we gotta know. We have to know who we should be imitating, right? They give us all these entertainers and athletes and things like that, and they put that in front of the community to make the youth think that these are the people to imitate because they give them $100 million to go shoot a basketball or to run a football or to sing on a microphone. But if you ask most of the children now, who is Madam C.J. Walker? Who is
Yeah,
Benjamin Banneker? You see what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
Who is Sojourner Truth? They don't know nothing about it. So what's happening is you have children who are indigenous to the land that are being educated in a system that is dominating them and raping them mentally and spiritually to the point where they don't even know who their ancestors are. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They don't have nothing to
yeah,
pull from outside
yeah,
of the modern day slaves that are parading as entertainers and athletes. So it's
yeah,
an education piece that is extremely important because we need to know. Yeah, we should be imitating the work of of Benjamin Banneker. We should be teaching our boys to imitate him. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? The ingenuity and the entrepreneurship of Madam C.J. Walker. We should be telling our daughters to imitate her, to
yeah,
to know who she is, be like her. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
But they
So
don't teach
so
them at school. They don't teach you. That's why
we
they
got to
took
teach them.
agriculture. They don't teach us our history. That was by design. And they're like, Oh, how come you don't know? Because you never exposed us. You exposed yourself our history and our culture and everything, but you hid from our kids through that education that you only teaching them you are a slave. You know what I mean?
Well, we gotta homeschool. We gotta homeschool our babies.
But how many people can afford that? That's the
And
So we're
if we
talking
can't
about
and if we can't afford to do
talking
it,
about
we gotta
our black
develop
community.
homeschooling cooperatives. Like we have agricultural cooperatives. We need to
Yeah,
build homeschooling cooperatives so that the people who can't afford to do it, who still got to go to work, at least they
yeah,
know they can put their baby in the cultural process with other families that
yeah.
support the educational process from a cultural lens. We can't keep sending our children to the oppressors to be educated because they're
Yeah.
gonna come back thinking like Romans.
Equity. Yeah, we need equity for that. That's why we
We
can
do.
fight for educational equity.
We do
For
need
just like
equity, but
farm equity.
if we have the homeschooling cooperatives, we can take our babies out on the land for a week,
Yeah.
2 weeks, have them learning about what that process is like. We can have them in front of agricultural scientists. We can have them
Mm-hmm.
planting the trees and you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
feeding the goats and riding the
Yeah.
horses. You know, we can control that
Yeah.
educational process. And that
Yeah.
gives us the opportunity to develop self-sustainable people in the future. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? So it starts
Absolutely.
with this generation, but we have to make the sacrifice. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's too many of us that think oh, if we put our children in the system or put our children in the institution, that they're gonna come back better. They said that this is the first generation. The baby boomers is the first generation that did not produce children who will do better than them. That means
Yeah.
the people who are born in the 1940s and the 1950s and the 1960s, those baby boomer generations, is the first generation that's children is earning less, doing
Uh,
less, home
yeah.
ownership, more debt.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Which means
That is right.
it was a total system breakdown. You see what I'm saying? And the
Yeah.
children are feeling it, but the adults sometimes don't want to admit it because it's like you sent your child in the wrong direction. And a lot of parents have a hard time accepting that. You see what I'm saying? Because they know that they love their babies and they did the best that they could. But at the same time, we got to shift that paradigm now. Now that we know that the system is operating in a way that they don't want critical thinkers or free thinkers. They want a docile workforce. They're not
Mm.
educating us to be bosses, they're educating us to be employees. So now that we
Yeah.
understand how the system functions, the system operates, we got to do what we can do to establish the conditions that allow our youth to succeed. We got all these
Yeah.
people coming overseas here. These are the ones that are getting the grants. They getting the finances. They getting the equity, which means that their children is going to be in the positions to be bosses over companies that they want our children to come in and be employees for.
That's right.
If we don't create the conditions to give our children an advantage through a cultural process that is education for them, so they can imitate the best of our culture. It's too often that our youth are imitating the worst of our culture.
Mm.
We need to create the conditions where they're imitating the best of our culture. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And that's what's going
Absolutely.
to shift the paradigm because we are creatures of habit. So if we make a
Yeah.
habit out of imitating the best that we have as far as
Mm.
our history, our ancestors, and we can create that as a habit of imitation, we will create the conditions for us to succeed. But as long as we
Yeah.
keep putting all this, you know, you know, VH1 and BET and you know what I'm saying, and NFL, NBA, yeah, you're gonna have um, um, 4 million children trying to apply for a job that only has enough room for 15 positions, and everybody want to be the next LeBron James.
Yeah. But what about being a CEO, CFO, CEO owning your own company, owning your
Come
own
on,
business, owning your own stuff, owning your own land, home? That is, that's what is, like you were saying, most of the NBA players, 80% of them, by the time, 5, 10 years, they have nothing to invest because of the lack of, financial literacy.
not
So,
about trying to be the next athlete, and that's the thing of our generation where we fall short as a people is because they want to use our bodies. Our bodies
Yeah.
are magnificent. Our bodies are superior, but our minds are just as magnificent. Our minds are just as powerful. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
spirits are given to us from the Most High. So it's not
Yes.
about trying to be the next Michael Jordan or the next LeBron James. Who signs that check?
Mm-hmm.
Who signs that check? That's
Yeah.
who you need to be
Honest.
thinking about because
Honest.
that's who has the power. That's who has the power in that situation. So we
Yeah.
need to start thinking about power. If your education that you get does not put you in the pursuit of power, you were not educated. If the
Mm-hmm.
education that you received does not put you in the pursuit of power, you were
Mm.
not educated. If your children go to school and they come home and the education that they received has not put them in the pursuit of power, they were not educated. Because education makes you know that power is what you need to make your plan go forward.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's why a lot of people, even me as an immigrant, most immigrants come here in this country for two things: for education and opportunity. So why can't we give the kids that who their ancestors paid for it for 400 years are still don't have the proper education and the proper opportunity for themselves, while everybody coming this country taking advantage of benefiting? That's okay, which is okay. We all do that, but at least benefit the people whom the ancestors paid for it.
Well,
I mean,
the issue the
that's
issue
no
with
blame,
our
but
community
they use actually the black community to benefit everybody else but themselves. It don't make sense to
exactly
me because they use
the
policy to do that.
the problem with our community is that we experience a total cultural breakdown after the welfare system was established that led folks into the crack era. So what we have now is only thing that allowed us to survive in America under this regime that we experienced, whether it's Europe or however you want to call it, was the family structure. The mother, the father, the grandparents, the children, the uncles, the aunties, and the cousins. Well, what we've experienced through the music, now they established the music to be dysfunctional on purpose. Because the
Yeah,
more dysfunctional the music is, the more you can pull the drugs into the community. You can make the youth become, you know, subversive. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
To their parents, disobedient. So what happens is they break down the family structure. When you
yeah,
break down the family structure, now these broken families begin to influence each other to the point where you have children who are developing rites of passages for each other. That rites of passage is going to lead them directly into the prison system to the point where and now it's a cultural phenomenon. Now you ain't a man until you do a little time. You see what I'm saying? You got to do some
yeah,
time, and then you come back, and you see what I'm saying? So it's the family that has allowed for us to be sustainable. Now the
yeah.
U.S. government has waged war on the family structure. Look how they
Yeah.
push homosexuality in the community.
Deliberately.
So when they break down the family, now there is no. You see what I'm saying? It's the family. It ain't even about the money. The money
Yeah,
gonna come because the family is the institution of the Most High. If you
yeah,
set up the family as your institution, the Most High gonna give you everything that you need to survive. You
yeah.
see what I'm saying? On this
Yes.
plane of existence. If you ain't the family, if the mom say, "Oh man, your daddy he ain't nothing," and the daddy say, "Well, I'm leaving," and you left the baby here, the baby don't even have the developmental elements in place to think about anything outside of survival. So
Hmm.
the baby is thinking about survival all through the development, and it's not getting the love and the care and the compassion that it needs from seeing the mom and the dad together, loving each
Yeah,
other, and then all that love is spilling out of the mother and the father onto the child. When you break down the family, you see what I'm saying? You
yeah,
create a lost people. That's why during slavery, they took the baby from the mama and they
yeah,
sold the baby. They took the
yeah,
father, they sold the father. They were
yeah.
consistently breaking up the family.
Yeah, by
So we see a
design.
point right now where we talk about it's not only thing that is the family. It's not
Yeah,
nothing else. It's not a dollar amount. It's not a land amount. It's we have to establish our family structures, our family systems. When we
back
sur- when we
then. Yeah.
when we develop our family system, there is no force that can defeat us.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
absolutely. And
it's
the
family.
way they did it also is just so, and that's why I don't blame the parents. I blame the government. That's why I say everything
It's the
happening in our
government.
community, from the
It's
kids
the
lack
government.
of gun, from the drug, from lack of opportunity. I blame it on the government. They have the money,
It is
the
the
funds.
government.
They're supposed to be helping the underserved, underrepresented community. In fact, the
But they're
government
creating it.
is using those community to make money. Again,
Yes.
it's like sickening. It's sickening. Like look at the jail for one child, for one kid. They pay $100,000 a year for one jail, one person being jail. If they give put that money back to the community, we would cut that in like half or even 80% would be gone. But they really make money off instead of the government really taking care of the underserved, underrepresented community. If they are in bed with the rich and big companies, like you were saying, now the music companies are not owned by our black people. It's owned by other community who don't give a shit about our community. So all they care about is the profits and their
Yes.
companies, and now they push that
Yes.
music to our kids in our community. Now they're ruining
And
our
that's
community
government.
music
And
too.
those are
That is
government
ruining our,
funds. Those are government funds. The government is
yeah,
funding this music to come out and be that way. So the
that's
government is still waging war on the family because they have to keep us from acknowledging that our birthright is the land. As long
yeah,
as we don't know that our birthright is the land, then everybody worried about something different. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Then we want to tune into the Olympics. We want to see what movie came out. We want to see who got the hottest album. Because when separate from the land, we can't be ourselves. We don't know who we are without our rites of passages. You see what I'm saying? In the cultural process that puts us
yeah,
in harmony with the land. When we're on the land, we start to realize that everything is alive.
yeah,
The trees are alive. The water is
yes,
alive. The soil is alive. You see what
yeah,
I'm saying? The food is alive. You see what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? But if you don't have a process that can help you come in contact with yourself, which is the culture, you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
Nobody comes here just culturally ready. Children have to be groomed into the culture. They have to be
yes,
taught what it is. So if you put your child in a school where they celebrate St. Patrick's Day, that don't have nothing to do with your culture. That don't have nothing
yeah,
to do with you, little bro or little sis. You know what I'm saying? They don't have nothing to
yeah,
do with us. So we practicing
yeah,
somebody else's culture to our detriment. You know what I'm saying? Now,
yeah,
I came up in it. I came up in the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? We had to sit down on Santa Claus's lap and tell him what we wanted for Christmas. That's foolishness.
yeah,
But that's the culture of domination. You see what I'm saying? Because we don't have the
ab-
land, we ain't practicing our culture.
yeah,
So if we don't practice our culture, then we start looking at, oh, why we don't got this money? Why we don't got this house? Why we don't got this? See what I'm saying? If you ask people who came up in the ghetto with their family, they gonna tell you, I didn't even know I was poor.
yeah.
I never knew.
They know. Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? Because the family was so intact that they had everything that they needed. You look at the folks out in Uganda. You see in Zimbabwe. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You look at the folks in Burkina Faso. Them youngsters out there with no shoes on, kicking
yeah,
soda bottles and laughing. You can't take their joy
yeah,
because they got community. They got
yeah,
culture. It's intact. Even though they don't have nothing else, they don't have no big industry. You see what I'm saying? They might not have no Maserati, no Cadillacs, no Mercedes. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? But they got joy. You see what
yeah,
I'm saying? Because that culture is still there. They know what Ubuntu means. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They know what
But
you know what I'm saying, the principles.
the other way around here, you see, especially in our black community, in our African American community, all you see is pain, suffering from
Because you're
the
dealing with
kids
a dead people.
being jailed and killed from drug, from all kind of things. Like
Because
it's like this is
blackness
the Western.
blackness in it in of itself is property. If you look at the Black Law Dictionary, black in of itself means that you are property. You are not a person. You are owned by the government. So you talking about what black people look like? Yeah, black. That's a deaf culture. Blackness is of itself. Blackness is a part of the economy. That is the duality of whiteness. If whiteness is all angelic, then of course the blackness is going to be opposite of it. You see what I'm saying? They created a stratified system, top down. So if you say,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm doing it for my black people, black people don't even exist. 300 years ago, 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, we was not calling each other black people. So if anybody has a history book where they go back and they say, who are the sovereign people of this nation? That I can go back to your grandparents. Ain't nobody in there classified as black or African American. So these are the recent inventions of the U.S. government to say, this is my property. I created this phenomenon of this thinking through 400 years of this experiment, and it produced the African American, or it produced the black community. This is my property. There ain't no, that don't even exist. These are people that actually have roots in nations that were established prior to Columbus even coming to America. And you talking about $2 billion for the land, the whole land is ours. You give me $2 billion
Yeah.
for what? The whole continent. The whole
Yeah.
continent is ours. From the south
Yeah.
to central to the north. So you can't put a price tag on it. You see what I'm saying? So even what you're trying to say, you're giving a $2 billion reparation package to the minorities, that only benefit the people who just got here. It don't benefit us. Because
And
how can you put a
I
value?
don't like that minority stuff too, because black people are not minority in this country. If you break
Minority
it,
is a
especially the
classification.
African American, the reason why I say African American are not minority, if you break it down, African Americans, forget Africans, yeah, don't worry about Africans, Caribbean. African Americans in this country are around 45 million African Americans. 45 million. If you break down the white community by their own race, by German, Dutch, British, they less than this. They're probably 5 million there, 10 million. Do you see it? Because they come together. That's why they claiming
I see what
themselves
you mean.
majority. They're not the majority. This is majority.
I see
45
what you mean.
million black African American living in this country. These are the original. In fact, from here, from the white community, 95% of it, not even the original, is the immigrant from Europe.
You know
You
why it
understand?
looked like that? Because we're on the so-called African Americans' homeland. That's why the numbers look like that. The
But
45 million.
that is 45 million. That's not minority.
No, it's not minority. It's not.
They
It's the
make
way
us
that they
think we
use
are
language.
minority. They make us think we are minority because the European, when they come here, even though they separate, the Germans are Germans, the Dutch are Dutch, the Italians are Italians. But when it comes to say we are the majority in this country, even though they have their own economy separate, do you see what I mean? The
All
British
right,
on the back.
let's look at the etymology of the word minority. If you look at the root of that word minority, is minor. What is a minor? A minor is somebody where in the court of law they cannot be there by themselves. They have to have somebody who is an adult speaking for them because they are a minor. So when they're
Mm.
saying you are the minority, they're not so much saying that you're the small portion. They're saying that your development is arrested to the point where you're not reaching adulthood in our system. You will consistently be a minor. You will never be able to, we will never perceive you as an equal because you are a minor in this society. That's what a
Ah,
minority is. That's the etymology of it. They playing words, they playing games with the words. You see what
yeah,
I'm
they
saying?
are. Yeah,
So what they
no.
saying is that what they're saying is you are the perpetual teenager of this society.
Yeah, got you. That's what I say. This. How they manipulate and how they deceive, and all that. That's why I say blame it on the government because and then they try to make us blame it on ourselves, sabotage ourselves, sabotage who we are as a people.
It's
Our,
deception.
and we
It's
believe
mass.
that. We believe in it
Yeah,
too, which is,
but that's why
I just think,
when Malcolm X said, he said, pay attention to the media because the media will have you looking at the people who are the victims as the villains, and the media will have you looking at the villains like the heroes. And that's what he had it
yeah,
spot on. You know, that was
yeah,
one of the greatest thinkers to come out of our community was Malcolm X, and he laid the whole thing out. He told
yeah,
us what was what. He said only a
yeah,
fool would send his child to the oppressor to be educated. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
He had the insight already. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
we still building on something that was really laid out to us in the 1960s. You know what I'm saying? But we let religion divide us. We said, oh man, he Muslim, so if I'm Christian, I can't really rock with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? There was a
yeah,
divide and conquer because everybody should have been able to look at the truth of the words that brother was speaking and said that this is somebody that we need to protect. You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about? And then Martin
And
Luther
they do
King, he
that
said, you know, we
deliverance.
can come
How
forward in their own
that,
land.
how they do that in Africa too. Oh, that tribal is better than you. So they say, so they put stuff like that in our mind, and then we believe that. Just like Adam and Eve, that Eve
Yep.
believed in the snake. It's a human being. The snake is just a metaphor. Come on. People think it's the African snake is coming from the snake. No, it's a human being coming that deceiving us, and we eat that apple every day, all day.
Or it's like the American flag, right? The American flag is like a lot of the European flags. It's red, white, and blue. You see what I'm saying? So you have um, Bloods and Crips, right? Bloods is the red, Crips is the blue. If they fight each other and they kill each other off, you see what I'm saying? You look at the concept of the red, white, and blue. The red and the white kill each other off, and all that's left is the white. If the red and the blue fight each other, Crips and Bloods, you see what I'm saying? And y'all keep fighting each other, y'all don't understand that y'all are brothers and sisters, and y'all clashing with each other. The only thing left is just the whiteness of the flag. The red is gone and the blue is gone as symbols of people who have been divided and conquered. That's the only script that they run. They only run a divide and conquer script. There's nothing else for them to run because we're the
That's
most
the only
powerful people on the planet, but we've been reduced to the weakest people on the planet because our thought process ain't right. So if we ain't thinking right, that means we ain't speaking right. And if we ain't speaking right, that means we ain't acting right. So we got to get our thoughts right first, and our thoughts really come from really having knowledge of self.
Yeah.
They say in the ancient temples, it just said, "Man, know thyself." You know
Yeah.
yourself, you know God and the universe. So it come back
Yeah.
to us knowing who we are, because if we don't know who we are, then we can't stand on truth. And if we can't stand on truth, then we just gonna be hamsters in the wheel. You know what I'm saying? The reality of the
Yeah.
situation that this
We
entire
don't
planet is
realize that fast. If we don't realize that fast, not only black community, black people are in trouble, the whole world will be in trouble.
the whole world, because the whole world can't exist without us. Nothing. This world
That's,
don't exist without us. This is a God's dream, but this is our dream. You
look
see what I'm
where
saying?
we're
Our dream
at.
became a nightmare,
Yeah.
but our waking up is us being able to understand the elements that create reality. You see what I'm saying? The polarity to us is not the Caucasian. That's not our polarity. You see what I'm saying? That's just that's just an element in our reality that is forcing us to do better, right?
Yeah.
Because if
And
we were a part of a high society, if we were at the
yeah.
top of society, we had to come down. That's just innate. That's just natural. What goes up must come down. So we reached the highest level of civilization that the planet has ever seen, which means that
Yeah.
we had to also represent the lowest, you see what I'm saying, principle that the planet has ever seen for us to be able
Yeah.
to rise up. So the
That's
concept of
right.
a phoenix rising from the rubble means that something has to come down. Something has to be crashing down, which is the Western world. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And out of the Western world's
And
rubble, the phoenix.
Babylon, Rome. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Babylon,
So
Rome,
we have to,
Egypt.
like, when you look at black people, you gotta look at them and say, damn, these niggas is out their mind. Because the reality is that yeah, niggas is out their mind because they represent the lowest of society, because they also represented the highest of society. What goes up
Yes.
has to come down, and what is at the
Yes.
bottom is gonna rise like a phoenix. So all
Yes.
this $2 billion for the land, bro, that's chicken food. You owe us
Yeah.
trillions. You gotta
Yeah.
add interest on that, bro. You see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
gotta go bankrupt paying us. You see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
gotta lose everything paying us. You see what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
clothes off your back and the shoes off your feet and the keys to your car and the keys to your house. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of that. We need everything. You know what I'm saying?
Because look
So
at it right now where we are, how high inflation it is. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, honestly, between Democrats and Republicans, to me, they just both is bad. Like they have no clue. And this is America. You think like from 350 million people, they cannot even find, a proper. Did you see the interview with Elon Musk and Trump and all that stuff
it's
yesterday?
all
Look at Elon.
it's Zionism. That's all it is. It's a Zionist agenda. So don't
Elon Musk.
nobody have.
You know,
Yeah, they
he's
don't. They
African. He's African, and he created X-Space. What the hell is that? That's what you were saying. The reason why we're gonna save humanity, black people, because we're not thinking about space. We're still thinking about humanity. There's still there's still kids sleeping, not having enough nutrition food. Even here in the United States, we still have people hurting, people suffering. These people have no clue, and they talk about experts and in a mosque. He's African. His ancestors, two, three ancestors, African. He never even mentioned anything about Africa. He never even did nothing for Africa, but he benefited his ancestors and from South Africa. He's from South Africa, and he never even
Yeah,
mentions
his
he's
dad
from
had like an
South
emerald. It was like emerald miners or something. It was mining the land, taking emeralds out the mountains and
Africa.
shit like that.
All
So
they doing is taking
and
and never take back.
he was a parasite.
Yeah, never
He was a
take. Look
parasite.
at it. He never even mention no Africa. Now,
Yeah,
you know, he is involved in the in the American politics. He should be involved in the African politics that who raised him and fed him and took care of him.
no, he don't care about them because he's a Zionist. So his whole agenda is world domination.
And then
So
they're
he's a part of
using Zion. Why would they use Zion? Because they don't even know the meaning of Zion, which is Zion. It's in Ethiopia, where the Ark of the Covenant, the church, the first ever church in the world, and where the Ark of the Covenant is, the church is called Zion. So they're using that. Like, how is that even possible? They taking that. You know what I mean? That history, that Ethiopian have been kept that for from that time. Imagine from David and all that time.
But
They
didn't Hitler
kept
do
that
that too?
the covenant.
Didn't,
Huh?
didn't Hitler do that with the Didn't Hitler do that with the swastika? You know that
Probably.
sign.
The one
Hitler.
that,
He was using that
yeah,
swastika. That was out of Ethiopia too.
that's what I'm saying. The first thing they went to Hitler is the Jews. The first places before they even inherited Israel, they don't tell you. They have to go and find the Jewish people in Ethiopia first, the real Jewish people.
Yeah.
That's why
Yes.
you
So
have
what they
Ethiopians in Israel right now,
Yeah.
because the real Egyptians, the real Jewish are Africans, the
Yeah.
Israelites. Israel
So
was
they
Ethiopian. Israel,
so
the person Israel who went and inherited Israel, he was 100%, the bloodline was Ethiopian.
there it is. So we got culture vultures. We got people
That's
saying that
what I'm saying.
they are who
That's why
they ain't.
God told him to go inherit Israel, because he
So we dealing with
inherited
culture vultures.
Ethiopian. Oh, the
People
whole
that saying
Bible was written by Ethiopian. The Old Testimony, the whole of it was written by the Ethiopians. They took it, the Greeks changed it, and the Jews changed it, and it was changed and changed. No, but it was came from Ethiopia. The Bible, all of it was written by the Ethiopians.
there it is. So
They don't tell you that.
we dealing with a
They
stolen
actually,
legacy right now.
I
It's a
mean, it's in
stolen
the.
legacy.
That's what
So
I'm
you got
saying.
people,
Everything
you
is
got people
stolen.
who
It's changed.
you got people who not only stole land, but they stole legacies. They stole
History.
entire legacies of a people. They
Our
stole history.
everything.
You see what I'm saying?
I was looking at the continents. When you look at the continents, the European, America, Middle East, and other, Africa has all the diamond, the gold, and the minerals. Europe
Everything.
has nothing. They have not. Look
Nothing.
at America. What do we have except marketing and
Come on.
consuming? What are we? I mean, we're not. You know what I mean? At least
I mean,
Utopia has
everything.
coffee.
You know, when you think about the richest countries in the world, don't nobody mention Africa, and that's because of the media. Africa has everything that you need to move into high society. These cell
Everything.
phones that we got, the Tesla trucks that people driving,
Everything.
all of that come from coltan that's being mined in the Congo, and
Yeah.
those people out there hardly even have shoes on their feet when they out there. You see what I'm saying? Let alone fresh running water. And how is that even possible? You see what I'm saying? You got
That's
people who are
crazy.
parasites to humanity. You know what
That's
I'm
why I
saying?
don't
And
like
then
people like that's why I don't like people in a mask coming in there talking here when you should be fixing the continent that raised him and gave him all that opportunity. You see what I
yeah,
mean?
that's not
And
gonna
instead
happen
of
because
focusing on that, he's
these
focusing on
parasites.
the space. Who cares about the space? Who's gonna go in the space when we're not even feeding the human being first?
That's an
Humanity,
alien. That's a
children.
that's a that's an alien psychology. Only an alien would think about enriching themselves on a missile to leave Earth and go to another planet. A person who is a real, you know what I'm saying, earthling is going to
Yeah,
use that to enrich the people. An
yeah,
alien is going to go to outer space. So we got to know that
yeah,
we're not just down here with people. We also are down here with aliens too. Reptilians, Anunnakis, you know what I'm saying? All these different other species because
yeah,
Earth is a classroom for the gods. So of course it's
yeah,
going to be different species that come down here to try to throw off our evolution or to slow it down so they can use it to their own benefit. It's probably species out there that benefit from us fighting amongst themselves, just like we got races that benefit from us fighting amongst ourselves. You know, but you
yeah,
think about even the technology that we have now, we take
yeah,
quantum leaps. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
The Wi-Fi, the FaceTime, the cell phone. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like that wasn't even available in the 1970s, 1960s. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
1980s. So
Yeah,
look at the
look
quantum
at our
leap that we did
kids like
with
zombie
technology.
now. We're creating zombie generation.
Yeah, because we don't know how to
In
use the
fact,
technology appropriately.
in fact, right
We
now I call it the next generation. What I call it, it will be a robot generation because their brain is not even functioning. They're not thinking critically. It's gonna be like robot. All they have to put something in there and just tell them what to do, and they do. So they
that's what Elon,
practically turning human being into robots. That's
that's
what
what
they're
Musk is
doing.
trying to
They
do.
turn
That's
robots
that's
to a human being. They turn
that's what he,
a human being into a robots now.
that's what Elon Musk is trying to do. He's trying to put that thing in your head. He
That's
talking
what I'm
about it making
saying.
you think. Yeah, they already got that. They already got that mapped out, and it's already. I'm sure it's already people signing
Yeah,
up
you'll
for it.
have Google in here. You'll have Google on
You
your
know, so
so you can't even think that it would think for you. How
exactly,
bad
and
is that?
they can cut. And if you start thinking about something they don't want you to think about, then cut it off, just like that. Boop, cut it off. You know, but
It's
there's so much
scary.
technology. There's so much technology out here that is being used to really um, destroy the planet. You know what I'm saying? And we feel it, like like the $2 billion for the farmers. Yeah, that's something just to throw us off. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Throw us off
yeah,
our evolutionary track. Because they know it should be way more than that. You know, but the truth of the fact of the matter is, justice would be for you to give everything that you have to support the people who need the most help. If
yeah,
you're not doing that, then it's not justice. Justice is when the people who need the most help get the most help. So if you
yeah,
have people who represent half of 1% of the agricultural community having the highest level of chronic disease, those may be the
yeah,
people who need the most help. And if you're not
yeah,
doing, you rather spend $50 billion overseas to go kill somebody than to work at
yeah,
home with the community. So we already know it's the game is fixed, it's rigged. So we got to do
yeah.
what we can do for
Oh,
ourselves, but we have to know that it's a conscious evolution to it all. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like it's a reason why when people come over here, they look at black people and say, "Man, these what I'm saying, these niggas ain't shit." Because we have to be that to the world. Because we have to
yeah,
be the bottom of civilization for us to rise to the top again. We have to represent the bottom. But if you look at it, everybody wants this culture. Everybody want to move like we move, do what we do, even though we the bottom. They still want to beat us. They still want to be the bottom. You see what I'm saying? So imagine if we get to the top, the leadership is cosmic. We're naturally the leaders of the planet. Because even at the bottom, people still try to follow us. Now, look, it was it was a time where it was just us here. It was just us here in America, right? We was here in America, and it was just us, and it was the cracker, right? Now look at all the people who done left their lands to come here for opportunity. It should just be us. So who created the opportunity?
Absolutely.
Who created the opportunity?
And we keep on doing it too. It never runs out. Opportunity runs out. Doesn't run out from us.
It used to just be us and the cracker here.
Yeah.
And then people migrated here and said that this is the land of opportunity. Who created the opportunity?
Yes.
Who created the opportunity?
Absolutely.
So we was at the bottom.
Always focusing on, like you were saying, on humanity, human being. We're still on the bottom. We're not thinking about to go to the space, the moons in the Jupiter, and spend so much money on, instead of spending that money on our Earth while they're destroying our Earth.
We already did all of that already. We already did that. We already been to the moon. We already, you see what I'm saying? They doing what we had already did. They trying to get on a spaceship. We didn't need a spaceship. We could create a portal inside of a temple that will send us through a quantum field, and we will arrive on a different planet. They trying to duplicate what we didn't already did using mechanical instruments. Well, we didn't need mechanical instruments because we got a high level of melanin, which is information from the cosmos. So when you look at the Dogon people of Mali, they already had the cosmos mapped out in their living arrangements, and they already said Sirius is behind the sun, and we've already been visited by extraterrestrials. They didn't took a couple of us up there and brought us back. You see what I'm saying? So y'all are trying, they are trying to imitate our connection with the cosmos because they don't have it. That pineal gland that you need to be able to go to higher levels and higher dimensions of consciousness don't exist there. You see what I'm saying? So they got to use all the mechanical instruments, and we have to do that because we already was born with it. It's already in us. When they call this the temple, inside that temple is the seat of the Most High. That's your first eye to develop, is the eye that goes within. The eye that's looking within, your dreams, that reality, that quantum field. We already exist in that realm. They trying to get access to that realm. They don't have access to that realm. You see what I'm saying? So they do all this viciousness here on this planet. They vicious because they're upset that they don't have access to the reality that we come from. Right? It's in our DNA. It's not on us, it's in us. You see what I'm saying? We was kissed by the Most High. Yeah, we got to be at the bottom of civilization because we represent the phoenix. We represent the phoenix.
I think we're the end of that civilization. That's what I feel. I don't think we will be any more civilized than where we are right now.
This is the end, but it's also the beginning.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
So we can look at it as the end, but it's the end of something, but it's also the beginning of something else. Right? Because we're going to it. We're going
Bible. The last will be first, the first will be last.
There it is. So we got to be last. We got to represent the last. We're the last to get picked. We're the last to get supported. We're the last to get funding. We're the last to get hired. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be content with that.
Yeah.
You know, we got to enjoy it.
Look at the environment going on, the way it's going. I mean, I don't even know how this planet is going to sustain. Honestly, I don't even know how they're not scared. How they polluting they polluting the ocean. I don't even know how this planet, how long it's going to sustain.
In the Bible, it say that heaven and earth shall pass.
Yeah.
But this, you know, I mean,
we need to go back. We need to go back to the old way. How family, food, music, culture, who we are as a human being, you know. But now greed came in, violence came in, drug came in, pleasure came in, all that culture. Now our youth caught up on. That's not sustainable.
This earth is on borrowed time. This earth can be finished at any moment. You see what I'm saying? At any moment, because look at all the stuff that they look at the chevrons that just pump pollution into the sky 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right?
Yeah.
Look at the oil rigs that spill oil all in the ocean. Look at the airplanes that fly chemicals through the air all day
I
long. You
kid
see
you
what I'm
or
saying?
not. When I went to China, I kid you or not. This is the truth. I couldn't find the sun because I thought it was all cloudy. It was all pollution.
Come on.
How bad it is? The like this. I mean, I mean, it's not
Are we,
only
are we breathing
China
all that in?
pollute. That's how bad human being is getting. Like to make
I'm
some
saying
money,
we're breathing that
destroying
in.
our planet.
Yeah, we're breathing all that in. At any point, that could turn into a toxic gas, and everybody who breathes die.
And then they
You
have
see
to
what I'm saying?
keep on drinking hot water and spit their they're spitting every 5 minutes because they don't want to swallow the saliva because of pollution. That's how bad
It's
it
like
is.
it's like that out here. It's like that out here now. It's that bad. People don't realize that it's that bad. It's that bad. All these chemicals they spraying in the air. You look at the rise in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and what they call that when you just be forgetting all the shit. You got Alzheimer's, you got
Yeah, all time.
Parkinson's.
Yeah.
It's another one. It's another one, but it's all these neurological diseases.
Dementia.
Dementia. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. All that shit on the rise. All these neurological illnesses. They got
Yeah. We
homes. They got areas
people,
set up.
everybody's like forgetting. Even the young people don't have no. It's like too much.
It's forgetting. You know what I'm saying? It's finished.
The
It's the
cancer,
end.
the high blood, I mean, the disease, even though we have healthcare, I mean, this is a Western, country that has enough, but they still people are dying from cancer and high blood pressure, disease, and all the caused by our own not
Yeah.
growing organically food and destroying our air and all that type of stuff.
And we letting them
Hum-
do it.
Yeah,
We
we
letting them
let
do
them.
it. We letting them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Ain't nobody running out there with you know what I'm saying with the
yeah.
banger on them saying, you know what I'm saying? We allowing them to do it. Folks will fill up a
Look
football
what that
stadium.
what I swear I didn't put that there. Look what came into my back.
Yep. And look who the face of it is though. You
And that's
know,
it.
shit. I mean,
But
it's that's what it is.
I
You know,
think
the Most High just
my
sent you the.
my phone died. My phone died.
Yep.
So that's what happened. But we can go on, but these people gotta do something, honestly. They have to do something as soon as possible because otherwise, I mean, the way the war is going, the way how we're destroying the earth, our food is destroyed, our air is destroyed, our human soul is destroyed. So I mean, for what? For money? That's all it is.
And money ain't nothing.
So we
You
have
hold you.
enough. God has given us enough, to for human being to survive. The greed. That's why civilization is not gonna survive. Just like the Egypt didn't survive, the Babylon didn't survive, the Greek, the Rome didn't survive because of the greed. So
In
much
America,
greed
won't
in the
survive either.
government. They forget who they were supposed to serve. They were supposed to serve the underserved, underrepresented community. That's what government is for. So the rich and the wealthy don't take advantage of the underserved community. But now the government itself is in bed with the rich and big companies. Forget the underserved under community. Just throw something at them and they'll be good to go. That type of mentality ain't gonna sustain. It will fall badly.
And
That's
it's
why
never gonna.
greed, yeah, it ain't gonna
It's never
sustain
gonna sustain.
until they do
It's
something about it.
unsustainable.
But
But
we're just gonna grow our food.
there's a
Yeah,
group of people like my sister. She went to Egypt like a couple of years ago, and
yeah,
she went to the pyramids and stuff. And she was like, man, the Arabs over there, they're just so rude. You know what I'm saying? Like they try to sell all this stuff and sell you back your culture and everything like that. And it's like, damn, they don't even act like that at the mosque, but they'll
yeah,
do that in the temples of our
yeah,
ancestors, right? You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? But they don't do
yeah,
that. they won't sell nothing at the mosque. That's considered to be holy ground. So this is how you know that this ain't their land, right?
Yeah.
So we dealing with all these invaders into these different
Mm.
areas that they don't mind selling your culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You going to the neighborhood jewelry store, you got an Asian person trying to sell you an ankh.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that's where we
Mm-hmm.
are. But it was a group of people called um Hyksos. It was spelled
Yeah.
Hyksos, right? And they have pictures on the wall. The glyphs was showing that the people in Egypt was warring against this group because they kept on trying to invade the land.
Yeah.
And they had it on the glyphs. It was basically saying that you have to never let these people get into a position where they're governing over the land because they already know that these people are trying to destroy and undermine culture, human
Mm.
culture, humanity. So they was constantly warring with these people. They was constantly trying to come into Egypt to usurp the power and the culture that Egypt was getting because they was on the Nile and they was blessed with this land, right? And so
Yeah.
after the dynasty, they didn't have another dynasty because it was usurped by the Hyksos, which eventually, you know what I'm saying, turned into Greece and turned into Rome, being able to take those seats. But we're dealing
Mm.
with a very ancient, you see what I'm saying, battle
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was started, you know what I'm saying, when they say, oh man, you
Mm.
are anti-Semite, that was
Yeah.
that was really just an evolution of who the Hyksos is. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Those people that were warring against these ancient Egyptians who are
Yeah.
calling themselves the Hyksos, but they are, you know, they also consider themselves as the Semites. So if you look at the
Yeah.
people who you can't talk about, if you
Yeah.
say anything about them, they'll shut you down. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want the truth to come out. They're stealing legacy, they're stealing people's legacy so that you can never really see who they really are.
Yeah.
The ones that control the banking, they control the finances. You see what I'm saying? They control who gets the money, who's flourishing, who gets shut down. Look at Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving came out and all he did is say he watched a documentary, you know what I'm saying, that talked about from Negroes to Israelites or Negroes to Hebrews. And they shut
Mm.
that man down. They put
I know.
pressure on the owner who's from
We
China.
can't
The
talk. We can't
owner of the team was from
advocate.
China.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it was because they didn't like how the people who are saying they are the Jews, who are not, were portrayed truthfully in the documentary. They put pressure on the president of the team, the owner, to suspend him and to silence him because they didn't want him to wake up his people.
Wow. Yeah. That's what they've been doing. I mean, they killed Jesus. That's why I tell people like Jesus was a black man doing just the same as Malcolm X and but in a different form. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
born into those underserved, underrepresented community Israelites who's been oppressed by
yep.
called that time
He was a
the
brother who
Roman
stood on truth.
Utopia. The same thing going on right now. Look how
And,
if Jesus would be born today, where would he be born? You know what I mean?
and also,
In our community. He ain't gonna be born in it. You know, that's the truth. I mean,
that's
come
the
on.
truth.
Just
That's the
like
truth.
to say Malcolm X was a white man or some no, because he was born in that struggle, just like Buddha. He had to go down into the struggle with the people who's struggling. That's how he became a king because the people he didn't know how to serve the people because even at young age he realized he didn't know how he said how am I going to serve these people. I don't even know how they feel, how he doesn't know how they feel, so he had to completely leave all his kingdom and everything, live with the poor and underserved community. They then gave him the kingdom. So right
Exactly.
now how I feel is the same way. The government are serving the community that they don't even understand.
Well,
You see,
they not serving. I don't know who they serving. They serving themselves.
that's what I'm
You
saying.
know, they serving
Technically,
themselves.
technically, they
It's no.
they
It's
serve their own family, their own community, their own there. As long as they protect through policy their own family and community, who cares about our black community and family? That's how I see it.
They don't care about us. I mean, they ain't never cared about us. To them, it ain't even about us. So everything that they come out with is just them laughing at us. They laughing. You know, they think, oh, they think we finna give them $1 million.
Government is supposed to be fair. Government, I can understand business people, blah, 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 blah. But the government was supposed to balance all that from people being hurt and being, because that's what human nature is that. Once they get there, they
Show me a
live out.
government.
Yeah.
Show me a government that do that anywhere in the world.
But that's what they're supposed to technically under God.
Yeah, show me one. Show me one.
Was supposed to take care of the kids that the parents could not take care of. Fulfill
Show
the
me one.
stuff.
Show me one government that do that.
The European government do that now. The European do that. So
look, we're gonna look at.
They do that. The reason why I say
we're gonna look at the etymology. We're gonna look at the etymology of the word government. Okay. So government is 2 words. Okay, 2. Right. The first part of that word is govern. What does govern mean?
Yeah.
Control. The second part of that word, because there's 2 parts of the word, is meant. What is meant? Mental.
Yeah.
Governmental.
Mental control. Mental.
It's mind control. That ain't, you know, they're gonna help you do what? They're gonna help you give your mind to them to be under their control.
But the reason why I say European works, the government, I'm not saying you're socialist, you know, I have a socialist mentality. But when I say the European government, because they learned from World War I too. So the government money, the taxpayers' money, goes direct to the community. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't go to, like you see Sweden and British. That's why every woman and children and elderly are taken care of, because the money, the taxpayers' money, come to the community. Whereas here, it goes to the rich and the big companies to take care of the underserved community. The other way around. And it's just not going to work. Do you see what I mean? And instead of coming right direct to, that's why we have all these homelesses, because now the homelesses, they give the money to the real estate developers, the money. So the real estate development, they'll say to 10%, 20% low income. But what about the people with no income? You see what I mean? So that's but the government is giving them the money to develop business. It just don't make sense. It's just, I don't know how they do that, because I grew up in England. I lived from I was 16 to I was 26. So when you are a woman and a child, you are taken care of. Regardless, you are an elderly, you are a single family, you're single parents, the money, the taxpayers' money is going there. You need health care, free health care. No, it's a right. Housing is a right. Healthcare is a right. Nutrition food is a right. Education is a right. But they make it all it's welfare. No. That's a right. Everybody should have the basic right, access to that.
People got the right to welfare.
We want to hustle and be out there. That's another thing. You see what I mean? Yeah. But we don't have that right.
America is a
children out there homeless. Our women being out there homeless, that's not acceptable. This is a similar, that's what I'm saying. You don't see in Europe something like that. You elders, they're taken care of, like, you know. So that's the government that I would like to see, especially in the Western so-called, you know.
Well, you gotta create that, because that ain't here right now. That don't exist. You know, we don't have a system where, you know, our country is looking out for, you know, business. The people who
only this is a business country. So government is business, non-profit is business. Everything
they gotta make sure if they can't make no money in helping you, they ain't gonna help you. You know, they don't want to end homelessness, because if they create a homeless committee, they gotta pay the homeless committee. And if the homeless committee, the equity board of the homeless committee, if they getting paid to help homelessness, they don't want homelessness to stop. because that's a check for them. They need to have people out there homeless because their job depend on having homeless people. See what I'm saying? So there's no area of an ism or poverty that somebody not getting paid from that needs that issue or that problem to exist.
Yeah.
Because it's all business at the end of the day out here. You know, America was established for the business and the property owner. You see what I'm saying? So it has shifted from that dynamic, and it's to their own deficit. It's to their own demise. You know, it's the time is up. You know, they didn't have their time. You know, we're in a whole different area, a whole different era. You know, we didn't come out that age of Pisces. We're in the age of Aquarius now, where all this information is available. You know what I'm saying? So they kept us ignorant, and through our ignorance, we was allowed. You see what I'm saying? To be abused, misused. Now we got information that is enlightening us, so we can establish the new, and we don't have to exist inside of the old. The old is us begging to the government. That was the old way of doing things. Even when you
we
look
are exposed now with information, knowledge, wisdom, and all that, and we have to educate ourselves.
We gotta apply it because knowing is not enough. It's not enough to know. You know, a lot of us know what's going on, but if we don't apply what we know, then it's like we don't know it at all. You know what I'm saying? So we got to use what we have.
That they keep us ignorant. The more ignorant we are, the better for them to thrive in our ignorance. But
we got to build families.
Educate ourselves.
We got to get back to building families.
Yes, that's important.
You know,
God.
Under
God is family. That's it. If that family structure is gone, I mean, there's no 100%, but at least before 80-90% of that family structure is what that held it. But now it's like, we gotta change it. But we gotta keep on just do what we do and educate and teach and farm. That's what we're good at. We will be farming organically.
Even if we got to get back to arranged marriages, even if it has to go back to arranged marriages, we need to start building families again.
Yeah,
that's what's going to lead us into the future. Powerful. Even if we got to start taking children and saying y'all be together so the families can come together, we're gonna have to do that again. Because all this out here, people don't even know how to have relationships no more. People don't even know how to love one another. And that's what it all comes down to, because they're supposed to be instilled in the family. You're supposed to create the child who knows how to love and has the capacity to be loved. There's so many people walking around with insecurities now. They don't know how to love. They feel insecure if somebody's loving them. They don't even have the capacity to be loving to other people. So our goal outside of the monetary has to be establishing families.
Yes. Because that's the only way the kids can thrive.
That's the only way that we can hold on to wealth.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can hold on to wealth. We can't hold on to wealth as individuals. We got to pass wealth down through families. Yeah. So if I make $100 million or $1 billion and I don't have no family, who's gonna get that when I go? I'm gonna go back to the government.
Generational wealth. To create generational wealth, you need a strong family.
Come on now. Now you preaching now, Zion.
Yeah. Because without that generational wealth, you gotta pass down. That's what it says even in the Bible. A good father or a good mother will pass generational wealth for her kids or for his kids. So
that's right.
A father is supposed to do that. Like you were saying, I actually right. Even when I grew up in Ethiopia, our parents work hard so we can do even better than they did.
That's right.
I work hard so my kids don't have to work as hard or suffer like I do here. Do you see what I mean? So that mentality has to be there. I work hard so I can leave something for them. Something happens to me tomorrow.
That's right.
So that is the whole point of life. Otherwise, what is it? Like we eat, we sleep, with family, community is what his life is.
Yeah. Got to build family.
Yeah, you can't live by yourself, or you can't eat by yourself and you're gonna die by yourself and sad by yourself. But thank you, Christian, because this is an amazing conversation. We gotta keep it going because we have to make those people accountable. We need to know how those budgets are distributed too. I'm sure, if we don't ask, they're just gonna do business as usual and do whatever. That's why we need to see what the price is at, what the budget is at. How are they bringing that budget to our community, regardless, even though Black people put so much money into the taxes, $1 trillion a year. Black people put it back to the tax, the tax. So that is the budget. The tax is the budget, but nothing is coming back to us. So we got to make sure that where is it? How are they dividing it? Are we even getting any percentage of it coming into our community? If not, then can we go around in a different way to get to the budget instead of going through all these people that the nonprofit and for the profits that they give that does not come to us? We have to do something. I mean, we have to fight for policy. We have to make the governors, the city managers, the county supervisors accountable. We have to ask what is ours? Where is it? Because it's not fair on our kids and kids. We live here now, just like every other European, Canada immigrants. They come here too for that, advantage. But what about
Well,
our kids, our kids? And instead, they are dying over drug, gun, unnecessary stuff out there. We gotta that can be prevented.
I think
So
Tupac had a very prophetic saying. Tupac said, "We got to change the way we eat, change the
that's
way
right.
we live, and we got to
That's right.
change the way we treat each other, because it
Yeah,
always wasn't working. But it's on us to do what we got to do to survive."
that's right. We will close with that. How about that?
Yes, yes.
That is
Peace, love, and light.
absolutely
Most definitely.
right. Yes. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate you. I'll be at the farm this Saturday. So if you can make it this Saturday would be good. So, we will
That's
be
for the
growing.
Garvey Fest.
Huh?
That's for the Marcus Garvey Fest.
Yeah, I'll be there. First, I'm going to go to the land early in the morning. And then I'll be at don't forget about that too. The Marcus Garvey Festival is coming this Saturday. So we'll be there.
Okay, for
So
sure, for sure.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's coming perfect timing too. The Marcus Garvey, I like his principle. Honestly, we should
yeah,
have used
yeah,
his principle from the beginning. We would have been the richest people community in the world by now
yeah.
if
You know,
we used that principle.
we rich in some areas and poor in others. That's just how the pendulum swings.
True to that, yeah, I agree. I was talking about this way, you know. But we still have time. We're still there. We are still in America under the sun. That God have everything here: the education, the opportunity, the land, the expert, and the people. Everything is right here. You know.
Yes, it is. Everything is here. And
Yeah.
that's why we're wealthy, because nothing is out of reach. Truly.
Yes. That's right. So we're gonna get what we deserve and what our kids deserve, and create that generational wealth.
That's
With
right.
food,
Yeah.
with good stuff, not some
Yeah.
chemical stuff, with food, with entertainment, with music, culture, who we are as people, and while sharing that with every other community, with love, that's what we are.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes. We can't lose.
All right, thank you so much. So we got this. So we'll have another next week. Maybe we'll do about health and wellness, what that means for our community, the health and wellness of our community, how we can heal our community. So we'll talk about that next week.
All right, Zion. Peace and love until I see you again.
Send back at you. Thank you. All right, bye bye everyone. Thank you. Yeah, make sure you get involved. Get involved. That's the only way. Thank you.